Dawson's Rambles.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here, and we finally have our first trailer for Cosmic Fury, and we're going to break it down. It is a little bit weird because it's not like a traditional trailer that's released with like a voiceover or title cards or anything like that. It's one of those trailers that plays when you're skimming through Netflix and it annoyingly starts playing the trailer. So it's just kind of like no context, almost just like a random montage over a theme. But it basically gets the job done in terms of showing you the things a trailer would, but it would have been kind of cool to get more of a traditional trailer for it. Kind of like Once and Always got. Once and Always got a much more traditional, pretty epic trailer, to be honest, in terms of like the music and stuff, and it felt more like a trailer. But anyway, let's get started talking about this thing. So we start off with the core 4 Rangers that we're going to be getting the powers first, getting their powers. So you have Amelia in her new Red Ranger gear, not like the gear, but you know, her civilian gear, Ion, Javi, and Izzy. And it looks like they're actually going to be getting the morphers from Billy, or he's going to be involved somehow. So that's kind of cool, because we don't know the timeline of this, and I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end, but it looks like Billy is going to be involved somehow with them using the cosmic powers, because they're like, oh, these work just like our other morphers? They end up putting in, actually, the cosmic orbs. They're actually holding the cosmic orbs that they put in the morpher, which I'm sort of surprised by. Like, I assumed the orb would be a separate thing, but I thought it would just be a part of the morpher always. I don't think it's going to be like a gimmick. Like, I think they did fully get rid of the Q-Tamas, and these obviously aren't Q-Tamas, but I don't think we're going to necessarily be seeing them putting orbs in a bunch of things. I think this might just be a one and done, but I'm still kind of surprised because, like, the toy doesn't have that, and I thought they were just going to be fully removing that. But we just get a look at that, and then we get a look at the morph sequence, which actually, just in terms of, like, what they're doing with it is actually pretty cool. It's like sort of similar to the Dino Fury one, but they got some differences. Like, they end up projecting like a 3D model of their dinosaur, and then they kind of flip into it, and then it like arranges the suit around them, kind of like Cosmic Furies, and you got like the belt coming around and stuff, and it's pretty cool. Like, setting aside what your opinions are on the suits, I think the general idea of mapping out the way this morphing sequence goes down is actually pretty neat. And then they do this thing where they do like that, you know, where you're like, to put their helmets on, which is kind of cheesy but also kind of awesome. You do kind of unfortunately have that thing where the way the effects are laid over the helmets makes their helmets look big. And then they all pose in the middle of their spaceship like a bunch of weirdos. Like, dude, you're at home, why are you doing that? That's just odd. And then we do just got kind of a montage of stuff that's happening. A couple shots of the Zords entering the atmosphere, the Lion Zord, the Pink Condor, or whatever Zord it is. Some battle footage. You know, we have a bunch of different battle footage settings. This is a couple, like, in just like a sort of not foresty area, but around some trees with like Javi bringing the hammer down. You have a fight that looks like probably one of the first fights after they cosmic up against some monsters in like kind of a city looking area. And you got these Core 4 Cosmic Fury Rangers. You can sort of see Billy in the way background, but the biggest headline is, of course, the Dark Ranger from Dino Charge, which was something that was leaked quite a while ago. I'm hoping for some more surprises in the series, because there was quite a few significant things leaked that's kind of a shame wouldn't have been more of a surprise. But he's in there, you know, he did get some focus a little bit in the comics universe with Beyond the Grid and stuff like that. I'll be curious to see how he comes into the story. I'm going to imagine, you know, because he's from a different universe, but we have also established that these universes talk to each other within the main continuity here. But I'll be curious to see how he was brought in. If, like, he traveled here on his own, was he also recruited by the Morphin Masters? Are they going to have any different explanation from the comics powers? Are they going to take inspiration from it? You know, who knows? And then there's like a shot of what looks like one of Lord Zedd's ships building a palace or something. Maybe it's Zedd's palace being built, or maybe showcasing some of Zedd's forces building like installations for him on planets. Then pretty significantly, we have a shot of Amelia, what looks to be on a ship. There's a couple different settings like on ships that I can't tell if it's meant to be the Cosmic Ranger ship or it's like an evil alien ship, because I think the sets for PR look good-ish, but they're also like very cheap sci-fi sets, and they look so samey. But the main headline here is it's Amelia fighting against what looks to be evil Ollie, because, you know, there's been rumors about Ollie turning evil, and he's actually wearing the Dino Fury suit, which is very interesting, and she's still wearing like a pink shirt, like in Dino Fury mode. So I'll be interested to see how that goes down. I'll talk about that more when I'm done breaking things down, but I'm interested to see the timeline of how everything goes down. A couple of shots of some space battles with the Zords. We got another shot, which was actually the first one I saw when I watched it, of the Dark Ranger fighting on a ship, probably either the Ranger ship or the villain ship. You got Zato rangering up for the first time, I presume, with his morpher. A shot of a planet that looks Earth-esque, but with a destroyed moon. Maybe this is Eltar or one of the other planets they're facing. More shots of Dark Ranger fighting. An interesting shot here of Zato holding a Morphin Master staff and firing it off. And obviously we know the Morphin Masters revived him, and he's somehow more tied to them now, but I'm curious if, like, he's sort of becoming a Morphin Master or something like an emissary for them. Not like the emissaries, but... and that's why he has a staff, or if he's just using it because, like, one of them dropped it, or they're letting him use it. I'll be curious to see that. Couple epic shots of, like, a big Zord battle with some installations and stuff with a bunch of the cosmic Zords flying around, and then some more battle shots. Some of the shots from the opening of the Zords, and then you show, like, this big epic opening battle, which is one we've seen little bits and pieces of in the various clips we've gotten. What looks to be one of the first battles, because they're still in their Dino Fury suits, Zato's still in the Ghost Ranger suit, but you actually see the Morphin Masters all flying in and fighting and interfering. Makes me wonder again if, like, in this battle maybe one of the Morphin Masters falls or drops their staff, and that's when Zato picks it up to be used in the Zenith Ranger suit. And then just some more shots of the Core 4 Rangers fighting what looks to be probably their first battle. There is a shot that's, like, what's weird about, as of this recording, like, when I'm skimming through all the trailers, all the places where the trailers can be watched looks fine on a small screen, but as soon as you blow it up, it's, like, super pixelated. By the time this comes out, there might be more clear ones, but there looks to be a shot of, like, a purple mecha being knocked down and landing, which looks like it could be the purple mecha from Q Ranger, whose name escapes me, like is it Ryu Suteo or something like that? I don't know. I've heard it both ways. And then I think that's pretty much it. We have them posing again at the field, and then it just kind of ends, because it's kind of, again, a very montage-y trailer. So there's a lot to talk about here. You know, obviously, immediately, a lot of fandom discourse, as per usual, about the cheap look of it. And, like, let's talk, I just talked about this on Twitter before I started recording, and, like, full honesty, guys. I don't mind the Cosmic Fury suits as much as most people. I just, in general, was excited by the fact that we're doing originality. There's some aspects I like about them. Like, I personally really like the way Ryuso Pink's helmet looks in red. Like, just the helmet and the idea that it just works. That being said, I'll fully admit these suits look cheaper than your average PR. In general, PR in Sentai looks like a cheaper fan film, and these suits amplify that feel. And a lot about it feels even cheaper than usual, which is not a good look for the 30th anniversary, I'll admit. It does look, in some shots with the suits and just some of the general sci-fi original movie vibes, it looks embarrassing to a degree. I can agree with that, especially, you know, if you're a casual fan that's like, oh, Power Rangers is having its 30th, and you come back here and you think, yep, not a lick has changed. With that being said, I think there is some cool stuff here. This is kind of like touching on one of my least favorite things about modern criticism, is like, if something is not good in it, or something, you don't like something, suddenly every single frame is trash, and you can't find one positive thing to say about it. Because there's some cool stuff going on here. I think some of the battles and stunts look pretty epic. Like, legitimately in Dino Fury, I think we had some of our best choreography in years. I felt a lot of the choreography in Neo Saban was really stiff compared to some of the Disney stuff, or even some of the Saban stuff. And we had some pretty acrobatic fights, and it looks like we're going to be continuing that in this series. And, like, the scale of the beginning fight with the Morphin Masters looks pretty epic for PR, to be honest. Even some of the scale of the ideas of what they're doing, and having Billy there, and having the Dark Ranger there, and there's supposed to be some other surprises and stuff. Like, there's some cool story beats going on. And like I said when I was talking about the morph sequence, you know, setting aside my thoughts on the suits, I think the ideas in the morph sequence actually look pretty cool. Like, them jumping into their holograms of their Zords reminds me of Jungle Fury. Like, I think just laying out the sequence of, like, I guess the choreography, you could say, of the morphing sequence looks pretty cool. I am really curious about the timeline of how all this goes down. It definitely seems like this big battle is going to be one of the first things we see after Ghost Ranger recruits them, and then somehow they sort of lose, and that's when we have to get to the cosmic powers. It definitely seems like the cosmic powers are going to be 100% a new thing, obviously still tied to their Dino Henge powers, but they're not going to be a power-up because they're just straight up morphing from here. They're not morphing from their Dino Fury powers. But by the time it looks like this is the first scene of them getting their powers, it looks like Ollie's not there. So I'm going to presume that during this big fight, that's when Ollie gets taken, or his brainwashing is reactivated, and so he initially joins as evil as the Blue Ranger, and then they have to go get... Obviously, we see in that first little teaser that they are going to seeming to get the cosmic powers, but they still have access to their Dino Fury powers. So I'm just going to assume that their powers aren't going to be destroyed, but it's going to be more like, we need a boost, you know, we need something more powerful. And that's when Billy helps them craft the stuff, which I think is cool. I think it's going to be a cool combo of maybe these Zords have nothing to do with the previous Ranger power, and they're just existing for some reason, and he's able to make these powers sort of based off of that, tying in with our Dino Fury powers. I think that's pretty cool. I'll be curious to see, like, we have obviously seen Ollie behind the scenes with the cosmic powers. There was part of me that thought maybe that's a red herring and Billy will take the cosmic powers, but I'll be curious to see if maybe it's going to go different than we think, or if, like, at some point Ollie just manages to steal the cosmic technology. And then I imagine there's going to be a scene where, like, Billy gives Zato his morpher, but it definitely creates a pretty interesting timeline of how things are going to go down compared to the way I thought. Like, rather generically, I thought it would just be like, oh, a fight, and then they get new powers, and then Ollie splits off later. But, like, there's this core 4 team lie down, and then how's Fern going to come in? You know, is Billy always going to wear mmpr? I didn't expect that. It seems like Dark Ranger is going to be there from the very first episode, or at least the first couple episodes. I honestly thought he would appear later. I don't expect him to be a regular character, but we'll see. Maybe a reoccurring character. Like, I could see it maybe being like he appears at the beginning and then will appear later on in the series in sort of a countdown to destruction-y way. But yeah, I'm still honestly looking forward to it. Again, I'll admit it does not look the greatest, but there's a lot of story stuff that I think looks really cool in terms of what they're doing. Like, it's mixing together all these different things, and it's doing stuff in the way that I'm not 100% sure how it's going to go. But what are your guys' thoughts on the first trailer? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.